Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss season 2 of Netflix's original show, Dark. So this came out June of 19. December of 17 was the first season. June of 19 was the second season. December of 17, first season. June of 19, second season. June of 20, third season. Third and final season. 8 episodes long for this season. Season 10 had 10. No, season 1 had 10 episodes. This is 8, and then 3 is 8. This show is, and I said this when we're talking about season 1, it's incredible how they do time travel, and this is the architect. This is time travel prime of how you should do time travel in regards to cinema. This story as well is so interconnected and taking place in multiple time periods over a 100-year gap. We jump back to 1921 at one point, where we start out in 2052. I think that's when Jonas gets the hang mark on his neck. Bro, what a wild scene. Elizabeth Doppler being the one who's now in charge after the post-apocalypse. Like, bro, wild. But then, why is there's 3 different versions of Jonah going around? So, and we learned who Adam is, and why we can't bring Mikhail back to 2019, and why is Ulrich stuck in the 50s. And it's insane than getting more backstory and more answers to certain things. How did Mikhail wind up in the cave in the first place? Well, it was Jonas, but why did Jonas bring him there? Why is Claudia doing this stuff that Claudia is doing? Where's the relationship then between Agnes and Noah come into play? How did they come into play within regards to Adam? There's a lot of questions that are still unanswered. My biggest question, which I don't understand the purpose of the scene, was Claudia in the 50s. Her parents rented like a room out to a mom and a son. The mom happens to be Agnes, sister of Noah, who is the antithesis of Claudia in regards to the time traveling bit. But they're all travelers. That's the Sigmundus bit. So, like, why is Agnes's son, like, they're there to escape his father, an abuser? I get it, room and board kind of a thing. But the two of them, kid whose name I don't remember, and Claudia references him as James Dean, which is wrong, but we'll just call him James Dean. Why in the 50s they're walking down the path to get to their house, walking in the path in the woods to get to their house, and she says something like, are you happy to be here, or something like that, and then he just pulls his pants down, but like in a weird way of like showing a scar or something. Like we know that he has like cigar scars on his arms, but like, what was the purpose of him pulling his pants down in the woods? It was so strange. It was my only what the hell just happened moment, because everything else is like sort of kind of explained in regards to the 4 families of this town. How they're all interconnected, how it's 3 different generations worth of stories over a 100-year time period, and so many questions were answered, but then we get more questions moving forward, which is fine. But that was my biggest moment. I didn't understand it. I might have missed something in the translation. I don't speak German, so I have to rely on the source material of the translated English subtitles on the bottom of the screen. It's possible someone just didn't write an extra sentence, because I don't understand why the 2 kids are doing that in the woods. Didn't make sense. Kids, not teenagers, kids. I didn't understand it. It was weird. Moving on. Older Jonas coming back. So there's teenage Jonas, there's 40-something-year-old Jonas, there's then old Jonas, who is revealed to be Adam, and it's a matter of how can you break the cycle? If the middle Jonas thinks that, we're talking about the Jonas brothers now, if the middle Jonas thinks that he can break the cycle by turning off, the portal and such, the passage as he calls it, but then there's loopholes, and then there's other things, and it's just, Back to the Future is referenced. Bro, it's just a wild time. My wonderful aspect of watching this is almost every single end of episode, I was leaning over the couch with either my hand over my mouth or like leaning back, and I'm like, just like, bro, what is going on right now? I could not believe it. It was a lot of WTF moments. Could not believe what I was watching and how interconnected things are, and whose mom is whose daughter where, and it was wild, absolutely wild. Jonas having a thing for his aunt this whole time, it's just wild. The best way to sum up Dark is wild. It is just wild. And then at the ending of season 2, bro, when other Marta comes about, and he says, what time are you from? And she's like, it's not a matter of what time, it's a matter of what world. And then she twists the orb, which is her version of the time machine, as opposed to their time machines in the box. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Because then the apocalypse happens in 2020, June 27th of 2020, and that was the whole purpose of trying to stop it, but it didn't stop, and it's a matter of, can you still tweak stuff to then try it again? Wild. So now that Otherworld Marta is now off gallivanting with our world, I don't know if this is considered our world, but sure, our world, Jonas, where are they off to? Another thing I really love about Jonas's character is that people say his name different all the time. They say either Jonas with a j sound, they say Jonas with a y sound. I heard somebody say it as Jonas with a sh sound. There's just so many versions of Jonas, which I didn't know was a thing. And it's interesting because they're all speaking a German dialect because they're in Germany, filming in Germany, and they're all German actors and actresses. But I'm just curious how there's 3 different versions of his name within a German dialect. Is it, and again, I don't speak German, so if somebody speaks German and can explain this to me, please, thank you. Is it that different parts of Germany have different ways of saying the letter J? J, sh, and what was the other one? Y? The y sound? Jonas, Jonas, and Jonas. That's 3 different ways that people were saying it throughout. Is there 3 different ways to say that letter J in the German language? I don't know. If somebody speaks German, I would like to know that. I know certain Spanish dialects say J as a y sound, or vice versa. The Y is a J sound. Like Yasmin is really Jasmine, kind of a thing, or Yasmin. So I'm curious, how does this work? How does that J sound work? But Jonas is just awesome in a time traveling bit. Crazy, weird middle Jonas when he forces Marta into the bunker by gunpoint. I was like, bro, we don't. And you got the hots for your aunt. It's just it's giving Game of Thrones vibes. It's giving Game of Thrones vibes, right? It's a hots for the aunt kind of bit. How do we fix this? But then now what happens next? What happens with everybody with the start of the apocalypse? What happens with Jonas now going to a different world with Otherworld Marta? How does this all work? I really still want that prop. I want that orb prop. I want his yellow jacket, and I want the St. Christopher pendant. The 3 of those have to be in somewhere. Somebody has to have them somewhere. They can't just randomly be tucked away in a storage closet in a production studio. It can't. They have to be on display. This show is absolutely incredible. The way the stories are interconnected is incredible. The way they do the storytelling for the time difference is incredible. The fact that they go from heterochromia, which is my all-time favorite mutation of all times for Claudia, blue eye, brown eye. There was some shots where they go from 1950s Claudia to 1980s Claudia to then 2019 Claudia. And I was like, bro, oh my God. And we got a split screen going on of older Elizabeth with younger Elizabeth. I'm like, bro, oh my God, this is freaking me the freak out. This is how you do time travel things. When you're sharing stories of bouncing from past, present to future, involving the same characters but at different ages, this is how you do it. I said that in the first season review. I'm saying it in the second season review. This is how you do it. This season was absolutely wild. A lot of unanswered questions, a lot of answered questions. Another question, why is Mikhail's now adoptive mother, that nurse, force-feeding him sleeping pills and hot cocoa? What is the purpose of that? Things. I want to know answers. I want to know answers. I want to know what the hell's going on. I think, from what I've read, everything is summed up at the end of season 3. Now, I pay attention to the tiny, stupid, minuscule details of many things. For instance, I have so many critiques and joys with Teen Wolf, and I've said this numerous times. So many plot points of season 4 and on for Teen Wolf cannot happen without Danny Maheilani's involvement. And Danny Maheilani just disappears randomly, and nobody knows what happens to him. Nobody knows whatever became of the character. Certain characters meeting years later could only physically be possible with Danny as an introductory character, but nothing is referenced. Jeff Davis, the creator of Teen Wolf, said at one point, oh, Danny was smart, so he graduated early. And I was like, no, that's not how this works. Story and plot was not elaborated on when you have certain plot points and character developments that are only possible when you track them back to Danny, and he's gone. And it still annoys me all these years later. I absolutely love Teen Wolf, one of my all-time favorite top 5 shows, but I pay attention to all those tiny little stupid little things. So for me, nitpicking now all these tiny little stupid little things, and if I don't get answers to some stupid little tiny little things, I'm gonna be mad. But on the flip side, when we finish out this review marathon of the next 8 episodes of the final third season, I genuinely don't know again if it's a lost in translation bit, because there's certain things that don't really translate to other languages. I don't know how. It's just how language works. And I feel like I'm missing certain things by not understanding German. If I understood German, I feel like I would pick up more of the nuances, the sarcasm, the things like that in regards to how the actual lines are delivered. But certain things that people say or certain scenarios, I don't know if I will understand if it's lost in translation. I won't understand it if it's lost in translation. So I'm hoping that my tiny little minuscule critiquing questions, comments, and concerns that I've addressed here and in the first one as well, not really the first one, mainly in this one, little tiny things, a lot of questions. Will they be answered? Do they have to be answered? When we talk about the third film, the third season, we shall see. Dark Season 2, absolutely wild. On to the next review. Mahalo.